often discuss how a currency fails due to the lack of confidence in that currency.
Mm-hmm.
My question is, what does this look like from the perspective of the individual? Do they stop working for the worthless currency? Do they stop spending? Do they riot? Do they barter? How does this lack of confidence bring about the end of a currency?
Well, kind of like all of the above. And I want you to understand that people always think that this is something that's happening in the future, but in reality, it's always eroding and happening right now. This inflation up at officially above 9%, so it's a lot higher than that.
Yeah, right.
It's too fast, and people are noticing, and that confidence is becoming eroded. But it does it also in layers, right? So back in 2008, when it was leaked, because everybody knew that it was just a stated rate, the interbank lending rate, but once it was leaked that it was being manipulated, and you could see the interbank lending go to zero, like immediately, it's just a straight line down, that level of confidence bank to bank was lost. And once confidence is lost, they may play the game like there's some confidence there, but the reality is once it's lost, it's lost. It's done. So that was 2008. It was leaked in 2012. In 2015, it was central bank to central bank with the Swiss surprise. Switzerland said, we will hold this peg to the euro. We will hold it. We will hold it. We will hold it. And then, like 2 days after, they came out with this big, huge statement about how they were going to maintain this. Boom! They changed their mind. So central bank to central bank. We can certainly see a lot of that happening right now. But that layer of confidence was lost. And then just recently, with all of this forward guidance, so that the markets on Wall Street knew in advance what the central banks were going to do. And then all of a sudden, they were saying 50 basis point move, 50 basis point, 50 basis point, and then they did a 75. They gave up, which really shows me how panicked they are, that they're losing control. They actually gave up that key piece of confidence. So there's only one layer left, and that's the public confidence. This rapid inflation erodes that confidence. And if you want to see what it's going to look like, look at Sri Lanka. I mean, that is a great example of what has the elites quaking in their boots. Because when people are hungry and hopeless, and they are beaten and badgered and bloodied by all of this inflation, and they can't feed their families, and no matter how much they make, it's never enough at a noticeable level, because that's actually been true for quite some time. But when it becomes to a noticeable level, and they come out and they say, well, it's transitory, or it's this or it's that. And most people aren't paying attention to what the central bankers say anyway. But it becomes obvious to them that this system is against them. Then that's the last vestige of confidence. What I think this is going to look like, and I'm going to either be right or wrong, but I'm probably going to be right on this. Well, because this is what I've studied forever, right? So it's not rocket science, and it's not a random opinion. But, it's getting nasty out there in the stock market, in the bond market. Not as much in the bond market, even though interest rates are moving up with buying bonds or whatever. But in the stock market, the bond market, and the real estate market, again, we're on the edge of the bond market and the real estate market imploding, right? How much pain are the central bankers, is the Fed going to allow? Right now, they've got to come out and regain that last itty bitty bit of confidence in inflation, because they've lost the short term, they've lost the intermediate term, and they're waffling on the long term. So they're trying like crazy to keep that confidence together in the long-term inflation expectations. Okay? So they're going to raise rates, like, look at all this firepower that we have, but look at in Mexico. They've raised rates 16 times and their inflation rate is still running really hot. It's not going to work. That's going to kill this last little bit of confidence. And you'll see the Fed come in and print so much money, new fake money, that's going to push us over the edge. And yes, we will. We're experiencing high inflation now, even in some areas like Miami rents, pretty near official hyperinflation levels. That's what's going to be the final nail in the confidence, the public confidence in the central banks that is holding on by a thread right now. So what is it going to look like? Do you stop working? So from the perspective of the individual, very high inflation. No matter how much you make, your wages aren't going to keep up with the rising costs. Do you stop working for the worthless money? Boy, I'd almost say that's a lot of what's been happening. I don't know how people are meeting their bills if they're not working, but there are a lot of people that have not come back into the workforce. They must have a rich uncle somewhere, because I don't have a choice,
Mm-hmm.
But, maybe that is part of what's happening is even if they do, even with the 5.1% increase in wages, it doesn't compare with the official 9.1% of inflation. So maybe they do stop working. Do they stop spending? Well, they change their spending habits from would be nice to have to absolute necessities, and that's already happening, right? You've got to feed your family. You've got to put gas in your car so you can get to a job if you have it. And there are some challenges with the ability to pay the rents because they've gone up so much. So they don't stop spending. They just change what they're spending on to necessities. Do they riot? Yeah, and we're seeing riots all over the world because of these issues that we're talking about. So yeah, when people are hungry and hopeless, they make choices they would not otherwise make, at rioting being one of them. Do they barter? Yes. The answer on that one is absolutely 100% yes. In fact, I'm doing some bartering right now with some people, up at my bug out location that have been eating Army rations for a really long time. So they're like, if you give us food, we'll work. I say, okay, that's what you want, or a little combination. No, they're happy to work for food. So yeah, when you get to that point, you barter, and things will get very local for a while. Once people lose complete confidence in the currency, then they don't really want to take it because they're aware of how quickly it's losing value. And yep, that does bring about the final end of this currency. And there is not even one doubt in my mind, not even a marginal doubt. I mean, there is no doubt. We are at the end of this currency's life cycle. Period.
All right, so we'll ask one more question.
Boy, these are good questions today.
Yeah, and they're long ones, right? I mean, yeah. I don't think we've ever only answered 2 questions in 20 minutes.
No.
So we're going to answer.
You keep getting my, fire bone or whatever you want to call it.
I'm not. They are.
Thank you.
Getting you fired up.
They are, because it ticks me off. If you like this clip and you want to watch the full video, just click right here. And to subscribe, click right here.